once again. All right. For a minute, so I'll jump into it again. So it looks like NASCAR is trying to visit the idea of racing in New York, which first off always makes me laugh because New York already has a race. It's called Watkins Glen. So all the people are like, New York needs a race. New York does, in fact, have a race. It's Watkins Glen. However, New York City does not have a race, and that's typically, I guess, what they mean. And I'm a big proponent of New York. I've had fun every time I've visited New York. It's not really somewhere I would like to live because I like sort of the country and stuff like that. But it is very convenient. Manhattan, particularly, you can walk anywhere in Manhattan, basically anywhere in New York City, wherever you live. Everything is within walking distance, or you have public transit to get there. So it's really, really a cool city if you're into big cities and stuff like. I have nothing bad to say about it. I visited Brooklyn before it got gentrified. I visited Brooklyn after it got gentrified. Really cool place. So I don't have a problem with New York City. I don't have a problem with New York having a race. I think there are actually a ton of fans in New York, to be totally honest with you. All the Bodine brothers are from Chemung, New York. I think NASCAR has a bigger following in New York than people realize. So I do think that the effort there would be well received if they had a race in New York City. However, the problem I have with it is the France family tried this earlier, particularly Brian France. Brian France tried this for a long time. They bought some land in Staten Island. It didn't work out. They couldn't get the local politicians behind it. And to be fair, Staten Island is arguably, not even really arguably, ask anybody from New York, Staten Island is kind of New York City. So I don't know. The two things Staten Island is famous for is being the armpit of New York and also the Wu-Tang Clan, right? So that's interesting in itself. My computer's trying to update now, which is probably what the problem was the whole time. So that being said, I hope it works out, but I feel like the Steve Phelps regime, because of this, has learned nothing from the Brian France regime. And I think that's evident because the reason they no longer have the NASCAR awards ceremony in New York is because of the New York deal, the fact that they the New York deal done. And I think that it's just funny that, Steve Phelps thinks he knows better than Brian France, and it's just one of those deals that I think's funny. So I also think that if they ever pull it off, it is going to be a logistical nightmare. But if they ever pull it off, I think it would absolutely work in New York. I think it would be a great crowd. It would get the sport where it needs to be. And actually, back in the day, like people were asking earlier, where would they actually have the street race? I don't know if they could actually pull it off, but back in the day, a video game called Project Gotham, it's the same people doing Forza. Same basic team is the same team that built Forza, but originally they were Turn 10 and they were working on I forgot what the name of it was. It was Bizarre Games or so, I don't know. Anyway, in Project Gotham they had a New York City racetrack. So would they sort of go to that layout, sort of that format for the New York City racetrack? I remember you went by the Flatiron building. I can't remember exactly where it was at, but basically you would have to shut New York City down for that to work. So that would be very interesting in itself. It's not like New York City downtown hasn't been shut down before, so I don't know. It could work. I just think it's going to be a logistical nightmare. I don't know that it will actually happen, but I'll be impressed if they pull it off. I'll say that at the least. But I would put odds of saying that it happens pretty low. And in fact, that'll be the first poll question. Will a race in New York City ever happen? That's a pretty good one, right? So there you go. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I feel like NASCAR has tried this several times, and I'm always interested to see if it will actually work or whatever. So I don't know. That being said, there's several dirt tracks in New York that they could make it happen at. Like if they actually wanted to do a proper race in New York, that's not, once again, New York State has a race. So Orange County Fairgrounds, if they wanted to go the dirt route, Orange County Fairgrounds is a really great track in New York. So they could go race there. It would A, they would get a dirt race, B, they would get a short track race, and C, you're racing at one of the most famous places in New York. So I think that would be good. And of course, the other big news today is that the Guns N' Roses car dropped. The Guns N' Roses car, the thumbnail to this particular live stream, really good looking car. I'm really excited about it. And I am about to invest a lot of money in buying some diecast and possibly some t-shirts and some hats. So that car is awesome. Good looking car for Eric Jones to be wheeling there. So pretty excited about that. All right, looks like everything's working now. So I am going to go to the chat and see what you all would like to talk about. Mark Barnum says the sound is good here. And what's up? What's up, Mark Barnum? Sonny V says so far so good. John Lewis says it's good now. One Wise Guy says much better. Hero Kurgan says woohoo. So apparently it's working. Sonny V says Phelps again. Yeah. So like it's really disappointing that he has learned nothing, right? He has learned absolutely nothing from Brian France. Like you got to give Brian France credit. The guy tried things and he was usually pretty successful in his mind. Like he got them done, right? Successful in the fact that he got them done. The fact that he couldn't even get New York pulled off, I don't know why Steve Phelps thinks that he is so much better at logistics and getting that thing pulled off than Brian France. Maybe he knows something. I don't know, but we'll see. Michael Honeychuck says, "What's up, BB? It is better now. Appreciate it." Mark Barnum says, "How about those KC Chiefs? They had me worried, man. I thought Philadelphia was fixing to play another team, their third team, without a quarterback. But luckily, Patrick Mahomes was able to come back after halftime, and they made it interesting. But that's the Chiefs' MO. They made it interesting, and but at the end of the day, the Chiefs got it done. That was a great game, actually. And everybody that was like, "Oh, I hate that this game came down to a call." They did show several angles later, and even the player himself said he did hold the Kansas City wide receiver. So at the end of the day, it does stink that it came down to a call, but it was the right call because even the player admitted, he's like, "Yeah, I grabbed his jersey and held him." So that's pretty interesting in itself. John Lewis says Holland tunnel race. A tunnel race would actually kind of be cool. Like if you could actually race through a tunnel, that would be pretty cool. So a crash in there would pretty much be a red flag and possibly end the race, though. So I don't know. Like Dislike says, old commercial, New York City, get a rope. Let's see here. Back and remember to give it a thumbs up, y'all, says Robin Marks. What's up, Robin Marks? What's up, Canada? Sonny V, New York rural, not New York the city. Like I think they could pull off a New York rural race, but I don't think a New York City race is ever going to happen. And I know that's what NASCAR has their eye on. It could be a deal like Phoenix, where you race in Avondale, right? They're racing pretty close to the city of Phoenix, probably within 10 or 15 minutes of Phoenix if it weren't for traffic. Probably even less than 10 minutes if it weren't for traffic. But it might be a deal similar to that. Like I said, I know they bought some land in Staten Island at one time, but they couldn't get the local people behind them. And Staten Island is an area that needs some economic insurgents, to say the least. They could stand to be like Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn got that economic insurgents, and they sort of took off. So it's interesting that the local politicians didn't want to work with NASCAR to bring some money into that area. Let's see here. GNR car is nice. Deegan's truck is nice too as well. Yeah, so interesting thing was brought up to me about Haley Deegan's truck. It does not have Monster on it anywhere, not even by the driver sponsor, because the driver gets like sort of the B pillar there to put their sponsorship and stuff on there. Said there was no Monster stuff on there, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, Monster's done with her." Here's what I think is going to happen, and here's why I think it's going to happen. I think she's going to get a beer sponsor because beer sponsors will probably pay her more money than Monster would. And I think that because A, she has turned 21 now, so she can have a beer sponsor. And B, I think that because I don't think anybody would actually get rid of Haley Deegan, because if you look at Haley Deegan's numbers on social media, she has 500,000 followers on YouTube. Dirty Mo Media, which is Dale Earnhardt Jr., has only like 312 followers on YouTube. So she's got a bigger reach, crazy enough. Now you might not like it. You might not feel it's fair, but it's the way it is. It's true. And she also has a younger audience than Dale Jr. So those two things right there are going to make her a very attractive for a sponsor, regardless of how good she does on a racetrack. You sponsor her just to get your product seen. You don't really care what she does as long as she doesn't do anything crazy to embarrass your brand. And so far, she's kept her head. She's had one incident. And other than that, she's kept her head on her shoulders, and she has represented all of her brands very well. So I think she's actually going to get a beer sponsor, and I think that's why you've seen Monster sort of dip out. I think she's going for a beer sponsor because I think beer sponsors will pay more money. So much ado about nothing, in my opinion, about Monster leaving. Let's see here. John Lewis, Eric will win the 500. Go 43, go. Man, if he wins the 500 in the Guns and Roses car, that's gonna be legit, right? So let's see here. One wise guy says they're better off going to Canada over New York or even the Pacific Northwest. Canada has a fan base already established. I do agree with you there, one wise guy. I think that's their best option for an international race, 100%, because you've already got a NASCAR Pinty Series up there. It is a shorter drive as far as international goes. And I know when they had the race in Mexico City, all the teams lost money on that. So I think if you have the race in Canada, the teams would actually stand to make some money on that, depending on where they finished and all that good stuff, obviously. Plus, you have sponsors that would cross over easier. I know part of the problem with Mexico, the Mexico City race, you didn't have a lot of sponsors that would easily cross over for whatever reason. So I feel like can race, and I do agree with you. The Pacific North, all of motorsports, basically, even basketball. Like if they had a race in Seattle, right? Like Seattle has lost a basketball team. Seattle's like the third biggest major metropolitan sports market. Last time I checked, and they don't have a race and they don't have a basketball team. So NASCAR and the NBA are both missing out on a pretty big market in Seattle. And somebody said that Seattle has a lot of crime. I don't know. I've never been to Seattle, but I was a Supersonics fan, and I'm still cheesed off that we don't have. Barbara Smith, thank you for the super chat. Always appreciated. That will go toward the Fiat project. I just want to see the cars go around in circles real fast. Me too, Barbara. Me too. And hopefully they take my advice about that New York race if they make it happen, and they do it at the Orange County Fairgrounds, so that they'll be going around real fast on the dirt at a historic track up there. And they will be going in circles, and it'll be a short track. Let's see. Napa Racing Fan 927 says, I love the title of the original live stream. No problem. I will go back and retro make this title for this one. I just didn't have time to do it. Type all that. I was trying to get this back up as soon as possible. So I will make the same title for this, and then I will put attempt number 3 on it. I got rid of attempt number 2 because YouTube already, even though it was only up for 6 minutes, already YouTube didn't like something I said in there. I think it might be the name of the band, and I think I've already said it here, so I think this one's going to get it too. David McCaslin, all street races stink regardless if it's F1 or NASCAR or IndyCar. Yeah, for the most part, they are typically really hard to pass on, so I do agree with her 100% on that. Mark Barnum says Monster's still on her brother's bike and her dad's Can-Am. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't think that they would get rid of her. I think it's a situation where she might have found a beer sponsor, Busch Lights, maybe. So I think she might have found her own beer sponsor, and I think that's why you saw Monster go away. They're probably just not ready to announce it yet because you know how they want to do those things. They want to make the announcement. They want to have the car ready. They're probably working on the art for the truck. So probably when the artwork for the truck is done, they will announce that next beverage sponsor, whether it be beer or whatever. But I don't think Monster necessarily left her so much as she might have found a different beverage sponsor. Let's see here. John Lewis, just can't see Deegan in an old Milwaukee car. Well, I'll tell you what, if you did see her in an old Milwaukee car, I promise you that sales for old Milwaukee would probably go up compared to where they are right now. Milwaukee's Beast, the original. Let's see here. Beast Heavy is what we actually used to call it back in the day. Beast Heavy and Beast Light. Race on the Aqueduct horse track in New York City. The dirt part is a 1 1/8 level. Never happened, but that would be something. I'm not real familiar with that. I've actually never heard of that, so I'm going to have to look that up. I do like the fact that it's got Aqueduct horse track in the name, so that sounds really cool. So you've got really cool sounding name. I'll have to check that track out. I'm not super familiar with that one. Happy the NFL only in NASCAR season. Yeah, as soon as the NFL season's over, the NASCAR season begins. And I wish it was vice versa. As soon as the NASCAR season ends, the NFL season begins. That way NASCAR would stop getting dissed on its TV deals. Mark Barnum says Deegan needs Jack Daniels for a sponsor. They've done it before. Jim Beam and Jack Daniels have both been in the sport. Crown Royale has also been in the sport as well. So that would be another option. Team FTINT Hub says, hello, what's up, team? I don't know if I'm saying that right. FTINT. I'm going to go team FTINT. That looks like that's probably what it should say. Let's see, or FT International. I'm not 100% sure, but I appreciate y'all watching here. When will NASCAR start a modified boat series where they put boats on a car chassis? I don't know, but Rick Hendrick already has a leg up on that. He used to race power boats. Team FT says, International says, thoughts on Casey Mears wanting to make 11 starts this year. So here's the interesting thing to me on Casey Mears. He is actually, in my opinion, a super underrated driver. Well, when he was learning to drive basically a cup car, he was in his best equipment. But when he actually had learned to drive a cup car was when he was in lesser equipment. And I'm basing how good he is versus based on how good Ty Dillon is. And no disrespect to Ty Dillon. I've got a bunch of Ty Dillon t-shirts, and I'm waiting for Ty Dillon to break out one day. I will never give up. I want him to do good. But Casey Mears outran him all day long. In my opinion. I think he's at least better than Ty Dillon, and I would be interested to see what Casey Mears could do in 8 races in top-notch equipment at this stage in his career when he is better definitely than when he was in that Hendrick car. I would like to see what the guy's got, because let's just be honest, that 13 car, when he was over there, that thing was not fast. So I would like to see what he can do. And he actually turned in some pretty good finishes in that car. Daryl Adams says, possibly take the concept of the Coliseum to MetLife. Yeah, so MetLife was mentioned, and I mentioned that in the video. I didn't mention it here. Or the All-Star, or maybe around the area of a stadium for a street course. Yeah, so they could go around a stadium, and they also could do basically what they did in LA, right? So that would be one way of doing it. The beer sponsor for sure would be Busch Light, says Sonny V. Yeah, I think you're onto something there, and that's just me because she is hooked up with Stewart Haas Racing. So it wouldn't be a stretch to that as well. And also Sonny V saying Deegan in the Busch Light car because, well, you know, they have the female forward deal going right now too. So a lot of people feel like they were doing the female forward and they weren't helping those drivers, according to some of the drivers that were in it. I'm not gonna stir that pot. But they were basically saying they were just waiting to get Hailie Deegan. So it would not surprise me to see Hailie Deegan in a Busch Light car. That's actually, I should have addressed that when I said it the first time. But you're on the money with that, Sonny V. Call it the Bass Pro Shops Land Boat Series. That would be pretty good. Let's see. Pristine Auctions doing a charity auction with some of Deegan's memorabilia right now. Yeah, so there you go. If you want to help out a good cause and pick up some Hailie Deegan stuff, check out Pristine Auctions. They are not a sponsor of this particular show, but I always would like to help a good cause. So anytime it's for charity and you're a fan of that driver, go check them out. Maybe you can score something at a good price. Actually, a race on a horse track sounds insane. Does it sound any more insane than a race around a football field, though? So I don't know. Angus 420, but good point. They both do sound insane. Hopefully they can get above 22 miles per hour for an average speed at the finish of the race. I'd like to see all 3 series at Eldora, says Aaron Flynn. I agree with you. Angus 420 agreeing with Aaron Flynn there as well. The GNR car looks nice, says Supreme Baller. I agree. I think it looks really good. I like the fact that it basically matches the Appetite for Destruction album cover, more or less. So I am interested to see how many they sell, and I want to see what the t-shirt looks like, because I want to see an Appetite for Destruction t-shirt, and then you got like the 4 heads, and then maybe possibly have like either Eric Jones or Richard Petty in the middle, or work their heads in there somewhere. So I think that would be cool for a t-shirt concept idea. Let's see here. As messed up as the NFL season ended this weekend, I'm ready for NASCAR, and I'm willing to take their stupid BS because it's so much better than the NFL, says Benjamin Lewis. So there you go. Let's see here. Let's see. Apparently, the tubes didn't like that particular thing. Somebody's thing got deleted by YouTube itself there. All right, here it is. Supreme said a New York race would be so dumb, LOL. And then the middle desert over there in that other country. Yeah, so that's going to be an actual series. They wouldn't actually be racing over there, the Cup cars. They're just looking at doing sort of like NASCAR's got the NASCAR Euro Series. NASCAR's got the Piney Series in Canada. They would just be doing a series over there. It actually wouldn't be Cup cars. CPO says a northern swing would help finances. Loudon, Canada, Montreal, Toronto, Michigan. That would be actually pretty cool. Like you've got your West Coast swing to sort of start the season. I would like to see an East Coast swing. That would be nice, especially for the fans up north, because they would have some races that they could go to concurrently. If NASCAR lined their season up like that, I think it would help out not only with ratings, but it would also help out with attendance because you could have people that really just want to get into it and they could go to 3 races in a row. Like if you live on the West Coast, you can legitimately go to 3 races in a row. It would be nice if they set something up like that for the East Coast, upper North East Coast fans. I guess I should say the Southeast. Obviously, you can do it at a lot of. There's a lot of swings in the Southeast. You could possibly do it. Team FT International says, I agree. A huge Casey Mears fan. Really hope he does run those 11 races. I'm a Ty Dillon fan as well. Yeah, I'm hoping Ty Dillon at some point has some success, but it is what it is. Let's see. Supreme Baller laughing about the. I don't think YT likes that particular word for some reason because they held back a comment about that earlier. So now I got to look for that word. That's crazy. But yeah, a NASCAR race over there, Supreme Baller. I don't think they'll have one. I think it'll be they're talking about doing a series over there. Yeah, I remember Casey's final start for Jermaine wrecked out at Daytona. Yeah, it was such a disappointing end. He had raced for Jermaine in the 13 for so long. Geico's not even a part of the a race car sponsor. They're still part of NASCAR as an official sponsor for NASCAR. But Geico, it's weird to not see the Geico car out there anymore as well. Benjamin Lewis, as much as I love power racing, the only way it could work is if the France family decided to build a moat around Daytona and Talladega. Yeah, the old powerboat racing used to be pretty big back in the day. And that's actually there's a pretty good series about a guy that he was a powerboat racer and then he actually raced road courses. Randy somebody, but he got caught for selling the devil's lettuce, and that was the end of that. Let's see here. I think Randy Lanier. I think NASCAR series drivers and SRX will expose them to more potential sponsorship. I agree, and I'm looking forward to Haley Deegan's time in that as well. I want to see what she can do against some champions on a regular basis. I think that's going to be very entertaining. I'm glad that Keselowski and Denny Hamlin are doing it as well. Team FT International Hub says, also my channel name is for a typing game, LOL. It has nothing to do with international. Okay, I got you. I have a NASCAR channel. Maybe I should switch to that. Oh, you're good either way. You're good either way. I just didn't know. I know people sometimes get upset because I pronounce things the wrong way. So I just try to pronounce everything as good as I can. So I'll do my best with that one. Let's see here. Deegan plus Old Milwaukee. It doesn't get any better than this. That would be a pretty good sponsorship, Camaro 50. I like your slogan already. Maybe Beast Heavy can get you on the advertising team over there. Team FTINT Hub says, I asked E-Step this yesterday as well, but what are your thoughts on BG McLeod getting a top 10 the last 2 seasons, and would you like to see him keep up the streak? I think he can possibly get a top 10. I think it will definitely be probably at a super speedway. But that being said, I hope that team continues to improve and do better because I do legitimately think that they want to be good. I don't think they're out here just sort of collecting money like some other teams. So I do think that they do want to improve, and I do see them improving. I think they could actually have a season where they don't get a top 10, but you might actually see some improvement in their overall running. But I do hope he gets another top 10. I hope he keeps it going. I like BJ McLeod. He's got a lot of talent. Unfortunately, they haven't been able to show it yet. And all these people that are paid by NASCAR to say all these cars are the same now, and it's just a setup, they can all stick it because that is a party line sent out by NASCAR that they are being paid to say and read because you've seen it on too many people's thing right now. It's bullcrap. And they can shove it because it's just not accurate. All these cars are not the same because if all these cars were the same, you wouldn't see people winning by 3 and 4 seconds at certain races. So they can take that line of bullcrap and try to sell it to somebody else. And that being said, I can build 2 cars side by side, and let me tell you something: one of these cars will be better than the other. even though if I build them the exact same way side by side. So there's you can say all you want to till you're blue in the face that one car that all these cars are equal. No, they're not. Just stop with that lie. Okay, let's just stop with that lie. NASCAR, please. Springballer says that Wendy's car is sexy too. That Wendy's car does look good. I like that Wendy's car. I like the fact that Wendy has the racing goggles on and everything. They did a good job with it. I like that little bit of gold accent too with the red and the blue. Looks really good. Angus 420 says, with how the internet is, the Haley Deegan race worn shoes are going to go for insane money. Oh God, yeah, I agree with you. And enough said about that. But yeah, strange but true. I got a whole new outlook on Deegan after the 24 race. She drove that Mustang to a great finish, says John Lewis. Yeah, she's a good race car driver. Basically, if people would just think of her as a small business owner and think of her YouTube channel as a small business that wants to go racing, if people just looked at her that way, they would probably have a much different opinion on her. Maybe I should make a video about that. People need to cut her a little bit of slack because she's just a young kid that wants to go racing, and it is what it is. People saddle her with a lot of other stuff. Supreme Baller, BB coming up with a good shirt idea. NASCAR needs you to pitch some ideas. Yep. Wonder if Richard Petty has any GNR albums. I don't know if Richard Petty has any, but I'm pretty sure Eric Jones has quite a few. Your narration of women in NASCAR was awesome, says Old Home Guy. I appreciate it. I will try to get a few more of those out. Not necessarily, they won't necessarily all be about women, but I am going to try to do some more of those sort of in the future. And they all won't be like that far back in the past. So I can actually get some actual video in there too and sort of test out my my video skills as well. I'm trying to get better all the time for you guys. Let's see, Mark Barnum. They have the nose from the Xfinity Cup car bid. Is it 157 right now? That's a steal for that. I'm pretty sure that'll go up before it's over with. Is Casey Mears related to Rick Mears? Yes, he is the nephew, I think. Decker is back, sort of, says Delmore Kaufman. Yeah, so that's sort of ironic, right? She blows up NASCAR, and now she's like, hey, I've got a ride. So there is something going on behind the scenes. I don't know what it is. Would love to know because it's crazy, but that's definitely something behind the scenes. And Team FTINT Hub says, yeah, that is Rick's son. So he is Rick Mears' son. So there you go. I knew he had some relation to him, but he is the actual son. So that's cool. I was a big Rick Mears fan back in the day. Also, Napa Racing Fan says, bring Sonoma back to March. Green grass, high tides is more beautiful than sand and dirt. I don't disagree with you on that one. Northern Swing during the dog days of summer, not quite as hot. Yeah, that would actually help. That would be a pretty cool idea. Too bad NASCAR will never listen to us, but that's a good idea, Sonny V. Supreme Baller, which one, BB? The middle thing? Yeah, I think they don't. I don't think they particularly care for that one because they hid one of your comments talking about that one. So you never know. It's week to week and day to day with what you can say. Let's see here. And people don't believe me, but you can look, ask anybody. All of us at one point or another have got dinged for a word, and we're like, really? Yeah, it's a real thing. That's what I thought. Just checking. I don't think it's a son, says Bo Darble. He is related to him. I don't know exactly how, but yeah. So let's see here. Springballer says that'd be sick. The King on a Guns N' Roses shirt. Yeah, I think that would be awesome as well. Supreme, 100%. All I said was, yeah, but you know what? One time, pretty sure this one's going to get the yellow one just because I'm going to keep saying that band's name. So we're just going to go for it here. But yeah, I got dinged for saying Chicago Street Race and then saying other things that go on in Chicago. So I got dinged for that one. I've gotten dinged for saying Guns N' Roses. I've gotten dinged for all kinds of stuff. So we'll just have to see, what it goes. I won't say it in the regular videos, but I'll say it on these because, these don't really, bring in any money anyway. I just do these because they're fun. And I like having the actual conversation with the people that watch the videos because I feel like it helps me get better. It lets me know what you guys want to see. And it's just cool to actually have a community where we can all talk about NASCAR, right? So that's pretty much why I do these. Like you guys are awesome. So it is what it is. It's fine. Everyone pronounces my name weird. Appreciate it, man. Or lady, I don't know. Mark Barnum, who goes home after the duels or qualifying? Oh, that's a good question. I don't have the list in front of me, but we got 4 openings, right? I think we got 4 openings and we got 7 spots. So I think 3 people are going to go home. I will say I think Jimmy Johnson and Travis Pastrana will lock in. I don't know who the other ones will be. I don't even remember how many openings you got. But I do think those 2 will lock in. So I think some of the other ones will be going home. I can say that. I think Hezeberg, if they attempt it, will be going home. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a few of them that got in last year. The money team is going to be close. They barely snuck in with Kaz Gralla last year, and Kaz Gralla is a heck of a driver. 40 watching, only 23 likes. Step it up, boys, Sonny V. So yeah, if you want to hit the like button, it would be appreciated. I can't wait to see the Kraft and Menards 20th anniversary scheme. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Menards cars as well. Hopefully they go back to sort of that old school dark blue with just the Menards line in it. I was a big fan of that, like way back in the day. Did Casey Mears get punched by Marcus Ambrose, or was that someone else? I don't remember. I don't remember Marcus Ambrose punching anybody. So I'm not remembering that one. I know it probably happened but I just don't remember it. Napa Racing Fan says, congrats, you earned a new subscriber here. Not just a NASCAR fan, but love some rock and roll. My name is Earl. Yeah, my name is Earl is my show. Also, against ESPN, coming back for NASCAR. Yeah, like I don't like the wokenomics of ESPN. I don't mind that they have a perspective, and their perspective is 100% theirs, but don't tell people how to live. That's actually my issue with it. That and the Jeremy Lin thing and the Tim Tebow thing, where they just take a topic and run it into the ground. I can't stand it. Like just report the news, don't make it. So that's sort of my issue with them. But you know, whatever. They're making tons of money. I'm not. So they'll do them and I'll do me. That's why I love BB calls it how he sees it. All the cars ain't exactly the same, but at least it ain't like when Jimmy won 5 in a row with Hendricks overpowered stuff. Yeah. So I would say they all have a basic starting point, but there's always tons of things you can adjust and just, I don't know. I see too many people saying the same thing. And whenever you see a bunch of people that keep saying the same thing, just know that they were paid to say that, because there's no way that everybody has the exact same idea at the exact time and they're saying it in the exact same way. It's just pretty obvious when you look for stuff like that. NASCAR trying to sell oceanfront property in Arizona, as always. Love there are Millennial NASCAR YouTube channels. What do you think of the new automated NASCAR channels, says Sven Larson? I like some of them as long as they don't do the clickbait thing where they just talk forever and ever and they never actually address the topic that they put in the thumbnail. So other than those channels, they're good. But I do like the fact that you can sort of type stuff now and the thing will read it and it almost sounds like a real human voice. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty Star Wars, Star Trek-y stuff there. Let's see here. Team FTINT says, Sven, oh my goodness, those are annoying. So she's Team FTINT Hub. She's talking. They are talking about. I don't know. He is talking about the one where they clickbait and then they don't actually address the actual thing that they clickbaited you into watching. Those ones kind of stink. The ones that Jet MDK called out, those ones stink. But the other ones, there are a few of them that actually do a good job, believe it or not. Kevin for the win says, what do you think of Ty Gibbs' Monster Interstate scheme? I thought it was surprisingly cool. I liked it too. I liked it too, Kevin, for the win. I think it's pretty cool because both of those colors matched up pretty well. And they put it on a black car so they don't bleed over and you wouldn't be able to tell if there's a slight shade difference. So I think they did a smart thing by having a base color to sort of break them up. Are you going to catch Media Day? I'm not going to catch Media Day. I'm probably just going to start from qualifying and go from there. Because Media Day makes me sad because I'm not there. I'll just be honest with you. The Chicago race, I think will be pretty awful. I'm sorry, but I just don't see it being an entertaining race-wise, Supreme Baller. Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I think it's going to stink, but I hope I'm pleasantly surprised, and I hope I'm wrong. NASCAR channels with robot narration. Can't click off of it fast enough, says Sonny V. There are some good ones, though. There are some good ones that actually address the topic they're talking about. That was a great history video you made, says Kevin for the win. I appreciate it. Everybody that's watched it has really enjoyed it. So I'll make some more in the future and hopefully figure out a way to get them out there so more people can see them. What is the manufacturing tolerance of the metal tubing on a cup car? Metal forgiveness or flexing would be a big deal on the build, says John Lewis. I don't know, but they are super rigid. We do know that for a fact. I don't know exactly what gauge of steel, and I don't know the tube thickness on the material they're using, but I do know they're super stiff. So the flexing and the relaxing as they get older, I think would probably be something that they looked at. I think these are supposed to last for quite some time. What are you working on this week? Says old home guy. Well, I'm probably going to work on some videos because I'm going to pretty much stay close to my house as much as I can because I'm trying to cover as much Daytona stuff as possible. Everybody knows Daytona week. So much news comes out, so I'm going to be trying to stay on top of it as much as possible. Working on a commercial for a couple guys, so I'll be working on that as well, possibly from home. Sometimes I do have to travel for those, but I'm trying to get as much of it done here as I can. I don't think I got anything race car wise going on this week. So no shop time for that stuff. It's been pretty rainy over here. All the stuff I can work on for myself is outside, except for my car, which is in my garage. And my garage is just barely big enough to fit the car in. So to work on the car, I actually have to roll it outside to work on it. Nothing race car wise. But let's see here. As we approach 10,000, I'll have to start looking for a Fiat. That will be something I'll start working here on the future as well. Casey's not Rick's son; it's his nephew. So there you go. Nephew is the official deal. We're going with nephew right now. Those automated videos are a bad look for NASCAR, says Napa 927. Yeah, the clickbait ones, I agree with you. 100% I agree with you on the clickbait ones. There are some legitimate ones that are good. And the funny thing about the clickbait ones are you can actually tell because they all have the same, I think it's pretty much probably the same guy. They all have the same thumbnail style. So once you recognize the thumbnail, you just know which one not to watch. Let's see here. Instantly recognize it's fake and don't click on the yeah. Napa Race Fan basically saying, yeah, you can tell the thumbnail art is basically all the same, so it's pretty easy to distinguish them. Let's see here. Who do you think will be drivers for the father-son combo at the SRX finale? That's a good question. What's one they haven't done yet? They've done the Blaneys. They've done the Elliots. What if they do Haley Deegan and her dad? What if they did that one? I think that would be a good one. Let's go with that one. Let's get the Metal Militia on one of those SRX cars, right? Let's see that. Brian Deegan versus Haley Deegan. That's what I want to see. Make it happen, SRX. Nobody watches this. They're not going to see that. Let's see here. Camaro 50 says, your mini documentary was very good, BB. Keep it up and you'll give Slap Shoes a run for his money. No, I won't. Slap Shoes is so good at what he does, dude. He has never made a bad video. That's actually what's really impressive about him. It's going to take me a long time to ever get to that level, for sure. But definitely, if you haven't seen Slap Shoes video, which would be amazing if you found my channel and not his, but check out Slap Shoes. His videos are really good. He's never made a bad one. But yeah, he's really good, and I definitely want to get on that level one day. But it's going to take a lot of practice and repetition for me. Let's see here. Old home guy says, just say GNR. I try to, but I slip up. Like, I don't know. I'm not that good yet. Let's see. Supreme Baller says, censorship. Yep, at its finest. Always. Exactly. I love these streams, fellow race fans and patriots. Yep, for sure. Sad that David Reagan won't be in the 500 this year. Yeah, so it'll be the first time in a while he hasn't been in one. Definitely a super talented driver. I couldn't believe nobody reached out to him and didn't try to put him into a race car. I agree. The Bandit says, I believe you can't say the brand's name. That's too much. Sometimes that's the way it is. Let's see here. Do you think Gilliland can get a playoff waiver if he runs the remaining 5 races to fill in for the full season? Yeah, I think he'll get a waiver either way. But I think he's going to get. I think he won't need a waiver if he fills in the remaining races. But he'll get a waiver if he doesn't, because I just feel like NASCAR will give him a shot there. But I also think that he will probably run that 27 car for probably those 6 gap races, I think. Old home guy says, remember when 8 to 10 cars wouldn't qualify in the 42 car field? Yeah, I remember when there were 52. I remember one year when they had 60 some cars, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I remember back in the day, a bunch of people went home. And a lot of times it would be a guy that would be running for points or something, and he would have to buy his way in and run like Jimmy Mean's car or something like that so that he could stay eligible for points for the full season. Qualifying used to have consequences. It's unfortunate that it doesn't, but NASCAR has made their decision. And I don't agree with it, but they've made their decision. Dennis Gillespie says, aloha, guys. Just got in. What's up, Dennis? What's up, Hawaii? Team FT says it might be a little late for Hesburgh to enter. And same for MBM. MBM's not entering. Carl Long's come out and said he's not going to enter it. But if they do enter, I want to see one of the open wheel drivers in the 27 and Timmy Hill. And I would love to see Timmy Hill in the 66. That's another talented guy that has not gotten a chance. I think Connor Daly and Chandler Smith go home. I do think Connor Daly goes home, and that's going to be unfortunate. But he's got a steep hill to climb. That's all I'll say about it. The dark blue Menards was smooth. So Supreme Baller, yeah, that thing looked good, man. It was really good looking. Yeah, it was Mears and Ambrose that fought. So there you go. He got the old Australian knuckle sandwich, some Nutella or something. What is it? Vegemite. The old Vegemite knuckle sandwich there. Let's see here. Bologna burger is underrated. I appreciate it, Team FT. I do my best. I say the young guns get in. Daly and Pastrana may not make it. So there's a good chance there. I think Jimmy Johnson makes it just because of his car, and I think Travis Pastrana makes it just because of his car. Because I think 2311 and Petty GMS, also known as Legacy Motorsports, will have the faster cars. I think they'll be trimmed out better than the other ones. I don't think it'll necessarily be a driver deal so much as it's going to be just that car is going to be better than probably the money team and whoever else. I can't remember all the entries off the top of my head. Sorry, I should have had that list in front of me. That's on me. Do you remember the original GNR Appetite for Destruction album cover? It was considered too controversial, so they put it on the back of the album. I do remember hearing about that, but when it actually happened, I was a bit young to actually comprehend it when it actually happened. But yeah, I do remember people talking about it, and I also remember. I remember Nirvana had the little kid jumping into the pool, and I remember they put the explicit because back in the day, the parental advisory they would actually put it on with their thumb. So I remember the parental advisory for that one was actually sort of in a convenient spot so that people wouldn't be offended by that album cover either. And of course, later on, they photoshopped the offending member out of that particular album cover. Have you watched Eric Estep and Brendan Poole's new podcast yet? It came out, I think, today or yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to watch it. But what a great job for them, man. That's pretty cool. And the fact that they had Daniel Suarez on the show to finish that up, says Team FT. Yeah, the fact that they got Daniel Suarez on there makes me want to watch it. But man, good for him. Like, what an ascendant. Like Eric Estep is rising, right? Like he's doing a great job. So shout out to that dude for putting it together. And he's got a great thing going over there. Super cool. And I actually can't wait to watch the podcast. And I don't know, maybe I'll start pulling some news from that podcast. So that would be like YouTube to YouTube straight. I wouldn't have to go to Twitter for it. That's going to be pretty cool in the future as well. So let's see here. Napa Racing Fan says, yes, I remember that. Talking about the album cover. ESPN on F1 is from Sky Sports. From England is crap. Says Gatorade 157. I think the actual coverage is good. It's just the fact that they get all preachy and tell you how to live. That's the part of it. So it's actually not the sports coverage at ESPN. It's all the other shows where they just tell you how to live. That's what I don't get into that. Spring Baller, I hate to get political because I know you don't want to hear, but it's literally ESPN and CNN, same old story every 3 minutes. Yeah, I agree. They just wear stuff out, like just wear it out, and then they don't cover actual topics that could be interesting. I don't know. They've gone down the wrong path because they both used to be very good. If you're old enough, you remember when ESPN and CNN actually used to be very good at what they did. Now they've become hacks and they just beat a story to death and just wear it out and get preachy. And it is what it is. I love SRX, but I'm not a fan of ESPN. If it was Bob Jenkins or Alan Bestwick on ESPN, count me in. And yeah, that's what I'm saying. Back in the day, they used to do so well. Mark Barnum says Eric's podcast was okay for a start. Yeah, I mean, look, it's his first podcast. Give him some leeway. If you got to come out and learn some things. Just give him some time. Your first season should never be your best season. If your first season is your best season, something went wrong, right? So give him some leeway, give him some time. He'll figure it out. He's a smart dude. Let's see here. Team FT says, yeah, I know those stink. I learned about them from Jet MDK. Yeah, he did a great video on them. But there are, believe it or not, I'm going to keep saying this, there are some actual good ones out there. So check them out as well. And while you're checking out, if you haven't checked out Elite Precision 29's channel, Elite Precision 29 is a really underrated YouTuber. He does a good job on all the stuff he does. So check him out. He is not an auto-tune voice. He is just a real person. And I think he's from Chicago, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. I might be totally wrong, but he has some good takes on NASCAR as well. Who's winning Xfinity Saturday, guys? Let's see. I'm going to go with Cole Custer. I like Cole Custer there. Possibly Brandon Jones. I like Brandon Jones there as well. NASCAR going back to ESPN would work out as well as drinking seawater for hydration. We got to boil it first, Angus 420. That's the key. Let's see here. Supreme Baller, I think John Hunter Nemechek will take it, but Jeffrey Earnhardt will be strong. Yeah, don't sleep on Jeffrey Earnhardt in the number 44 for Alpha Prime. That's a good pick, too. Of course, Jeffrey Earnhardt is our favorite Xfinity driver because Jeffrey Earnhardt at one time drove a Yugo. So he is a number one in our Xfinity driver favorites. Team FT, I would love to see Jeffrey Earnhardt in Victory Lane. I would too. Also, yes, for sure. Media Day was better than a Hollywood Hotel. At least everybody was at the track back then. Hey, there you go. Media Day is not bad. Let's see. Ticket price is going to keep a lot of people away. For some of these big races, I agree. I think even for the All-Star race, it's going to keep a lot of people away. Definitely Chicago. A lot of people have already complained about that one as well. That would have been cool if Jeffrey won with Larry Mack. He came so close. He did everything he could. I got tried his heart out, Napa race fan, for sure. And Team FT is agreeing. Daytona 500 is on my birthday this year. Oh, happy birthday, Sunday, Team FT. If we don't get to talk to you before then, ARCA Daytona opener still gets a ton of entries, and I hope to catch it on MRN this year. Yep. The ARCA race. This is ARCA's usually ARCA's best race is Daytona, the first Daytona. Napa fans saying happy birthday as well. Yo, BB, LA, Chicago, and New York. I don't think good old boys are the target demographic anymore. Yeah, so and look, nothing against NASCAR. I'm all for them going out and getting new people interested in the sport because at the end of the day, it is a great sport, and I think a lot of people will like it. My problem with it is don't make your fans that got you here feel like second-rate citizens, okay? So that's my issue with it. Go and recruit new fans, but don't treat the fans you've already got like they're second-class citizens. That's my only problem with it. Angus 420 says, get a Fiat. Nikki, they have a 2-cylinder, 18-horsepower engine with a centrifugal oil filters, or centrifugal oil filter, sorry. All ARCA races will be on Fox 1 or Fox 2 this year. That's pretty cool. I'm glad Fox picked them up. The clickbait ones are usually old news with clickbait type wording, says Kevin for the win. Yeah, they are very annoying. I do agree with that. The clickbait channels are enraging. They're infuriating. But at least they all have the same artwork, so you know what they sort of look like now. They could. So Reagan's they could, so the Reagans as well. Yeah, so the Reagans could do the father-son deal. The Gillilands could do the father-son deal. Earnhardt Brothers says Philip Canavance. Yeah, you could do brothers for the father-son combo. Yeah. Richard Petty and Kyle Petty SRX would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. I know Richard Petty wants to get in a race car because remember when he drove the pace car at Darlington and wouldn't get off the track. So you know he's itching to get back in one. Cassandra Keller says, hey, y'all, little kitten from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I think I got it right this time. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. For Cassandra Keller. What's up? Glad to have you on here as always. I'm going with Corey and Randy LaJoy for the S. That would be a good one. That would be a good one as well. Team FT for father and son. They could do the Burtons. The Burtons would be a good one as well. Jeffrey Earnhardt is a BA. He'll win a plate race this year. I hope so. I hope he just wins a race this year, and I hope he gets something going. Tomorrow is the 25th anniversary of the 1998 Daytona 500, Dale's only win in the Great American Race. And what a win it was. Unfortunately, he had the plus on the hood. I just wish it was the old school Goodwrench on the hood, but that's nitpicky crap right there. What an awesome win that was. And every time you go to RCR, if you go to the museum or whatever, they have that race playing on loop on the TV. Team FT says they could also do the Gillilands. Yep, the Gillilands will be good too. David Reagan is awesome, says Supreme Baller, or the Nemecheks. Yep. Let's see here. Michael Andretti and Marco Andretti could do the SRX. Michael must have did an IROC race before. Yeah. The Andrettis would definitely be another one they could do. That would be a really interesting one. I would like to see the Andrettis. Cars on track tomorrow. That is a good birthday present, says Mark Barnum. Yeah, got some qualifying tomorrow. That's going to be awesome. I think 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is when it starts. Now they're racing for like 4 spots max. And all the good teams are locked in, right? All the teams running for points are already locked in, so no drama really, unless you're a Jimmy Johnson or Travis Pastrana or whoever Connor Daly fan. Dale Earnhardt and Richard Petty should be tied with Daytona 500 wins. Dale easily could have had 5. Yeah, that's for sure. Richard Petty having 7 though is nothing to thumb your nose at. Richard Petty, a lot of people forget, was the absolute man at Daytona. No doubt about it. Supreme Baller says Vegemite. Yeah, the old knuckle Vegemite sandwich. Ambrose got Mears at Richmond. So it was the Richmond race. Okay. SRX. Fun fact: Marcus Ambrose, as good as he was on road courses, he was equally good at Richmond. He just never got the deal done at Richmond like he did on road courses. But he was really good at Richmond. SRX should have brothers or a family member, says Philip Canavan. They usually do for the last race of the year. Yay, the stream is back up. Don't see Travis Pastrana making the field, says OJ and Toothpaste. He might not, but he will definitely have a fast car. I really don't think Jimmy Johnson will make the field, says Angus 420. I've seen a lot of people say that, but don't forget, Jimmy Johnson has a lot of Daytona 500 poles, so I think there's a good chance he locks himself in on speed just to begin with. Or if he doesn't go out and get another pole. It's just both the Smiths and Austin Hill are so talented. Austin Hill is super talented. We know his car will be fast. That's another one I would probably lock in there. I don't know how many spots. I can't remember. I think it's 4 spots, right? So I would see him getting one of those 4 spots for sure. I would say Pastrana. I would say Hill. I would say Jimmy Johnson, and then whoever's going to get that 4th spot maybe, if it's 4 spots. I can't remember exactly how many spots are open. You would think somebody doing a live stream would know that. That's a major whiff on my part. Let's see here. SRX should run the Wallace brothers. That would be pretty good. Mark Barnum, Jimmy will make it up, but blow up if he doesn't. LOL. Sonny V says, Vegemite. Just assume eat dirt. Yep. It's not good. Vegemite, from what I've heard, is like the leftover stuff they have after they make beer. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the urban legend I heard. Come on, Jimmy gets in. It's a TV drama story. If Jimmy doesn't get in, I'll be mad. I think Jimmy Johnson's going to be in. If he doesn't get in, it'll be a bigger story than him getting in. Mark Barnum, Tony Stewart going drag racing full time this year. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And not even drag racing for his own team. He's for the McSomething brothers. I didn't have that on my bingo. I thought he might go full time drag racing, but I thought he'd do it for his own team. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know who watches Espen watch racing to get preached about their version of how the world should work. Most racing fans, especially, won't bite the bait. They do their thing over there. It's just not for me. Like that's. I'm not going to try to tell anybody what they should or shouldn't do. I'm just saying the way they go about their business, it's not for me. Justin Allgaier, about time he wins on a super speedway, and that's coming from somebody who doesn't like either side. Like I think all politicians are just that, politicians. They'll tell you what you want to hear to get your vote, and then they will do whatever whoever paid them to run the campaign paid them and told them to do. Justin Allgaier, about time he wins on a super speedway. Yeah, Justin Allgaier is an interesting pick there for sure. Contact VinWiki. They could probably find you a Yugo. I got to find a Yugo at a price I can afford. There was one in I think somebody found one in Chicago, but I can't. By the time I drive to Chicago with my gas sucking truck, it would be way more than the $500 to get that Yugo. And plus, I've just already got my it's just going to be more cost effective. I would love to do a Yugo, but I got to be realistic. It's just going to be more cost effective to do the Fiat. Fiat bought out Yugo. The Yugo was always a Fiat anyway, so it just makes sense to do a Fiat. So I'm going to do the Fiat just because of cost constraints, right? You remember you watched the races back in the day when they replayed them at midnight on ESPN. Due to time constraints, we now move forward in the programming. Due to financial constraints, we're going with the Fiat because I don't know that I could keep the Yugo running. I don't know that anybody could keep the Yugo running, finances or not. Barry gets it done at the 500. Josh Berry's a good pick there, John Lewis. No doubt about it. Nailed it. Don't treat us like we haven't been supporting for all these years. NASCAR says Supreme Baller. Yeah, like I don't care that they go for new fans, but stop treating the old fans like we're idiots or something. Like I don't get it. Oh, it's all good, Supreme Baller. I'll try to catch them and fix them as we go. You don't have to censor yourself. I have to censor mine. What's Robert Johnson the third doing? Oh, that's a good question. I don't know what Junior 3 is doing. Let's see here. Yeah, the LaJoys would be awesome. Yeah, because I think the LaJoys would put on a heck of a show because they're both super competitive. Brent Dial, what's up, man? Good to see you on here. Team FT says yes, 8 p.m. Eastern on the qualifying deal. Jamie Schweitzer says to that, did you think of Kyle calling Joey two-faced? Well, I think to an extent he's right. And I think the way that Joey Logano handled it was also well. Joey Logano said, yeah, I'm two-faced. So I think it's kind of a non-issue. It's one of those deals where both of those guys use those things to motivate him, right? Kyle Busch is going to use that to motivate him because he's going to feel like he's slighted. Joey Logano is going to use that to motivate him because he's like, I'm tired of guys talking junk about me. Now, Joey Logano doesn't come out in public and say this stuff, but if you ever listen to his radio, he puts those little things in the back of his head and he'll say, hey, put that in my notebook. He'll tell his spotter that. So Joey Logano does remember these little slights too, and he uses it to motivate him. And it reminds me of Michael Jordan, back when Michael Jordan played basketball. Michael Jordan would literally read the newspaper to find something that made him angry to motivate him to play against whatever team he was playing against. So in that respect, they're very much competitive like that, and they use stuff like that to motivate themselves. So I think it's going to be interesting. At the end of the day, I don't think it's going to be a great big deal. I think it was just something fun to talk about, and it only got the run it got because we had an off weekend and we had to have something to talk about, right? Let's see. Coeur d'Alene, Idaho has to be one of the most beautiful towns in the world, says Old Home Guy. I'll have to check it out. Let's see. Have not been to that one yet. Team FT says, and then the duels on Thursday. Yep. So we don't get speed. We don't even get speed week anymore. But we do. The days we do get are all slammed together. So there is that. I do miss speed weeks though. I want to see Ambrose and SRX. To be honest, I want to see Marcus Ambrose back in something. So it's 40 cars in the race or 39. I think it's 40 cars this year, but I don't know. I want Travis Pastrana in the 500, says T-Van. I think a lot of people want to see him in there. Dale and Kelly, there you go, Old Home Guy. That's the one we need to push for. Dale and Kelly, that would be a good one. I also want to see the Deegans. I want to see Haley Deegan race against her dad. I think that would be a good one too. Probably at one of the asphalt tracks. I want to see Deegan race against her dad, Brian Deegan, on a dirt track though, because they're more famous for dirt. And I know you were talking about an asphalt track, Team FT. SRX should have Leah race Tony. Oh, that would husband versus wife. That would be good. They could do something cool where it was a crossover event, like where they drag raced each other and then they went and raced SRX, and then they would have to have some type of tiebreaker at another type of racing if they split the difference there. Team FT says Old Home Guy, Dale Jr. and SRX in general would be cool. Yeah, hopefully he warms up to that idea. He said he didn't quite know what to make of it at one point, so hopefully he warms up to it. Bobby and Terry Labonte would be good. I agree with that, Team FT. Any prediction of the Final Four, says Jamie Schweitzer. Yeah, I'm going to work on that. I'm going to get that out this week. Probably work on it tomorrow. I was trying to get it out last week, but things happen, life. But yeah, I'm going to make that. So I'll make a video about that. So don't want to reveal my hand, but I will address it. Yeah, the Wallace brothers would be good, says Team FT. And Napa Racing says Jimmy Johnson will always be recognized for winning the most watched NASCAR race ever, the 2006 Daytona 500, and one of the worst 500s ever in 2013. So yeah, Iceberg just did a great video on the most watched race ever, talking about that Jimmy Johnson win. So check that video out for sure. And Jimmy will always be remembered that for that. That's for sure. Jimmy Johnson is in RCR equipment. He'll qualify quite well, says Old Home Guy. I agree with that. Jimmy has teammates in the 150 and people who would work with him because they can trust him. Yeah, I agree. As long as Paul Menard's not out there, because Paul Menard owes him one for that last duel that Jimmy Johnson won. So yeah, luckily Paul Menard's not in the race because I'm pretty sure he wants to pay him one back. Obviously, you wouldn't pay one back at Daytona anyway, though. So OJ and Toothpaste, what's your favorite thing from Taco Bell? Favorite thing from Taco Bell? Crunchwrap's pretty good. I don't know, the cheesy gordita, the one that's got the taco wrap with the gordita wrap or whatever. I forget what that thing's called, the chalupa or something. I don't know. But it's hard to go wrong. It's all the same thing, presented in a different way, right? So Crunchwrap's pretty good. A beefy 5-layer burrito, probably up there too. So those are probably my normal menu items that are good. 36 locked in with 6 open spots. Okay, so 6 open spots. That means only one person is going home. So who's the one person that's going to go home? I don't know. That's going to be a good question. We'll see. We will see. Vegemite is good for patching the roof. That is it, says Mark Barnum. There you go. That's probably pretty accurate. They should be going over the wall, starting line, up for the leader, so we get to know the rest of the team. Yeah, I miss back in the day when they introduced the whole team with the race car, when they were doing driver introductions on TV. Let's see. How many cars are in the race? 40. I think it's 40 this year. They had 49 or 39 one year, but I think they've bumped it up to 40 for this race. Maybe you going to any of the races this season? I'll be definitely at both of the Martinsville races, and I do plan on going to some other races. I'm going to Auto Club. So far, I wish I went to Daytona. I wish I got tickets to Daytona too, but it just didn't work out for me. But at least I did get to see the 24 hours. So I knocked one bucket list item off my list. I would like to go to Dirt Bristol. This might be the last year they ever do it, so I think I'm going to try to get that one. I just don't know if it's going to line up with my late model schedule where I'm helping people out. Obviously, my driving, I can set that schedule myself. Team FT, we have like 43 to 44 entries. Yeah, so a few people will be going home, I guess. Let's see. Team FT says, I've been to Michigan International Speedway, but didn't get to see the races, only practice and qualifying. At least you went to the track, Team FT. I've had some tracks I've been to, but I haven't seen the race. Like I'll be driving through them and I'll just hit that track just to see it, even if there's no race there that week. So I've been in a similar situation. The Yugo in Chicago probably looks like Swiss cheese. If you catch my drift, yeah, it's probably rusted out. And that's another thing. I didn't want to drive that far and go look up under the car and be like, well, we have wasted gas and a trip because I'm not getting a rust bucket. Let's see here. I got to be careful with Miatas. Miatas will be rust buckets sometimes too. Those early Miatas, I don't know what they made them out of, but they rust pretty significantly. Do you remember Josh Berry making a few cup starts? Yeah, he drove for the 77 a few times, and somebody else, I can't remember, but yeah, I remember a couple of his cup starts. Michigan is sick. Wish it had 2 dates, high-speed action right there, especially with this package, Supreme Baller, no doubt. My favorite thing from Taco Bell is the Pepto-Bismol After Assist Supreme Baller. Funny story, it doesn't. I've got a rock gut. It doesn't affect me like it does a lot of people. I know a lot of people have that problem, but it doesn't bother me. Let's see here, Sonny V. Two-Faced are just a different guy when he gets behind the wheel. Yeah, so I mean that's part of it, right? And here's the deal: they're all two-faced if you really want to get down to it, because comes down to it, with the exception of maybe Martin Truex, they'll all wreck you to win. Martin, I don't think he'd wreck you to win. Call it half speed week, yeah, for sure. You get all the speed week in less time. I don't know. It's I miss the old days. It's also really weird that we go into Monday. Like Monday came around and we didn't know who was sitting on the pole. I miss the good old days where we knew who the pole sitter was for a full week and you celebrated the pole sitter for a week. It's just different. It's the way they do it now. That's all I can say about it. Who do you have missing the 500? Don't tell me Chandler Smith. He's another BA like Austin Hill. I think he'll go very far. Yeah, I don't know. It's just so hard. Like, there's so many things that can go wrong. Cassandra Keller says, I'm 3 blocks down, downtown in the Garden District of Coeur d'Alene. So there you go. Garden District. Sounds pretty. Anytime it's got a garden district, you would imagine it's a pretty good looking place. Supreme Baller says, we need more Chandler Smiths and Austin Hills. Fiery old school guys like myself, same age group. Yeah, I do like Austin Hill. I don't know that much about Chandler Smith, but he's definitely no holds bars. I do like his attitude. I like his swagger. He'll have a fast car too, so I think he'll definitely be in. Zane Smith, I would probably worry about because Front Row's already come out and said the truck team is who's running the that car for those extra races. So it seems like he'll be in the least best equipment of already a car that's probably in slower equipment than obviously the Petty GMS. And I know it's Legacy, but I'm going to keep saying Petty GMS because I don't like Legacy. And the 2311 stuff. So based off of that, I would say I would worry about Zane Smith more than anybody. Haley kicked Brian's butt when they raced some Can-Ams. So there you go. That just means Brian wants revenge. He's probably been waiting on the day to get a shot to go back at her. So John Lewis says, did anybody see Prototype Fury car from Dodge? Christian Reborn, just cool. I haven't seen that, John Lewis. I haven't checked that one out. I want to see the Sadler brothers in SRX. I want to see the Burton brothers. If we're going to go brothers, I want to see Ward Burton versus Jeff Burton, especially after the Burton Continuum. And you know what? Let's get all the Burtons in there and just have a fatal 4-way match there. Burton on Burton crime. David McSwain, what's up, man? Still need a race just for pole-only winners and champs of that race? Yeah. So back in the day, the Bush Clash, Bud Shootout, whatever you want to call it, was only for pole winners. And I agree with you. Good point, David. Yeah, they definitely need to bring that particular criteria back for one of the, what do they call them? Extra races. What do they call those things? Anyway, they need to have it for that, for those type of races. Exhibition races. I knew it started with EX. Exhibition races. They need to bring that criteria back for exhibition races. Anyway, James Weitzer, North Wilkesboro being the local 2023 All-Star race is a good call or mistake. It's a good call, but the traffic, there's going to be a lot of complaining about it because of the ticket prices and because of the traffic. But they need to fix the short track package, and I think they're working hard on that. But that being said, I think it's not going to be as well received as when the Cars Tour went down there and did their thing, because that was just a special evening, a special moment. It's something you can't duplicate. But I think it'll be a good race. I just don't think it'll be as special as that. Thanks for bringing up Paul Menard. Hope to see him back. Remember when he came back in, I believe, 2021, he raced trucks for Thor Sport and ran well. Menard back to Cup. I hope he gets in and does a few more races too, FT. Napa says we need the 75 greatest drivers show for the 75th anniversary. Okay, so maybe I'll think about doing that. That would be, gosh, that's going to take a long time to put together. But you know what? I'll try to work on that, and hopefully we'll get it before the end of the season. I'm still working on videos I recorded for the North Wilkesboro Cars Tour race and the Phoenix, Arizona race that I haven't gotten out yet. So I'll put that on the queue. I'll put that in the list. But that is a good idea. I appreciate that. They need to bring back the Baja Gordita. Yeah, that's I do like those were pretty good. I agree with that. That Baja sauce was pretty awesome. I got my Martinsville tickets and camping spot. Delmar Kaufman, you're awesome. Good, you're doing good if you got a camping spot, brother. Those things are hard to come by. Let's see here. At Martinsville, Rec Wilson or Recky Stenhouse in SRX. I don't know. I let them have at it. Whoever can go the longest without spinning out is the winner of that one. That would be some pre-race entertainment for people. Wait, you work with late models, man, you learn something new every day. LOL, says Team FT. Yeah, I help Craig Moore usually. Jason Barnes in South Boston has been who I've been working with the most recently, but also helped in the past Landon Pendleton. We've Daniel Moss, just tons of people. In late models and limited late models, and sometimes other stuff like Virginia Sportsman and stuff like that. So yeah, For sure, I do that as a means of making some money as well. OJ and Toothpaste says, "Do you watch those corny shows like Mass?" Nope, nope. Or FBI fake shows? Nope, don't watch those either. Sure don't. Sure don't. I basically just watch movies on either Netflix or Amazon Prime, and the occasional show. Like I watch The Boys on I think it's Amazon Prime, which is a very dark superhero movie or a superhero TV series. Um, I used to watch Burn Notice. I binge watched that one on either Netflix. I think it was on Netflix when I don't know if it's on there anymore. I watch some stuff like that, but very rarely. Typically, I watch stuff like My Name Is Earl, Seinfeld, Friends. I'm more of a comedy sitcom, I guess, person when I'm watching TV, because those other shows, I don't know, I just don't really get into them. It's pretty rare that I get into them. Like I said, Burn Notice would be the only one that's sort of the exception to that. Michael Weston, they did that one pretty good, as good as you're going to do one of those shows. Let's see here. Supreme Baller says, I was away, I think, when you read my chat. Are you going to any races live? Yeah, I'm going to Martinsville for sure. And there will be some other ones. I'll announce them as they come. Cal Tiki, what's up? Cal Tiki with the burger emojis there. Bologna burgers are always good. Dave McTwain says, North Wilkesboro and Nashville are great racetracks. Yeah, I agree. I would like to see NASCAR branch out to Nashville, which they are, but the actual NASCAR track, I mean the short track in downtown. Sorry, I forget what it's actually called. They're very slight differences in their names. Now that Sammy Smith is moving up, do you think ARCA will be like this year? More winners. I think there will definitely be more winners. Also, Brandon Jones won a few ARCA races last year. Do you remember that? Yeah, he jumped down and got some seat time, and I thought that was smart by him. And you could definitely see the results when he came back up to Xfinity. He had a great year. He's improved every single season in Xfinity. I'm a really big fan of his work ethic. Aaron Flynn says Legacy MC with Jimmy has ties not only to RCR, but with all the powerhouse Chevy teams. I agree. It's that's an underrated aspect. The social game they're playing over there. I see KFB going 5 for 5 in Xfinity, says Mark Barnum. There's a good chance. He's done it before. Like dislike, I would like to see the starting lineup for pit guys, so we get to know the team some. Says like dislike. I agree with like dislike on that. They used to do it back in the day. I hope they go back to it. I heard about the top 75 on Teardown. Haven't listened to it yet. Says Napa Racing Fan 927. Yeah, I'll try to think of my own list. I'm not going to listen to theirs because I don't want it to influence mine. But after I make my list, I might listen to their list. Harrison Rhodes, Ben Rhodes, extremely underrated brother who barely got a shot at racing, but he does have more Cup starts than Ben. So there you go. That's interesting. Chris Buescher, his brother was actually the Cup Series Rookie of the Year, and I think he won the Truck Series Championship. But his brother was super talented too, and he just decided to up and quit the sport and become a real estate agent. So how about that? Bobby and Terry Labonte and SRX, says Mark Barnum. Spring Baller, I'm going to Auto Club. So far, I really want to go to Darlington or Bristol Dirt. Yeah, I've got both of those circled. Hopefully, I can make them Supreme. I predict Hamlin and Truex will leave JGR this December. Could possibly happen. Could possibly happen. You never know. Hamlin, of course, has his own race team. So at some point, that's going to become more important. I need some NASCAR friends. The town I'm currently living in doesn't have many fans. That's part of the reason I started this channel, was to have a community to talk about it with other folks. Because even though I work in late models and stuff, a lot of times you get the same stock answer. Oh, I don't watch that crap anymore. All I care about is this and that, whatever. So they've become disenfranchised with it. But then they'll talk about something that happened in the race, and I'm like, I thought you didn't watch it. So it is what it is. They're full of it, but it is what it is. If they don't want to talk about it, I'll just talk about it on here. I might just go to them, the Bristol and Darlington race alone. I do it all the time. Look, it's still fun. Have you ever been to Reno or Lake Tahoe? I've been to Henderson and Vegas. I haven't been to Reno. I drove through Lake Tahoe, but I've never been to it. So sort of, but I haven't spent any time in them. OJ and Toothpaste with that one. Team FT says Forgotten Cup drivers: Ryan Ellis, Matt Mills, Ryan Eversley, Shane Golubic, RC Anderson, Chris Wyndham, and Mike Marlar. So there you go. I remember Matt Mills and I remember Ryan Ellis. The other ones I do not remember, so they are forgotten for sure. They like boring NBA, says Supreme Baller. Well, there you go. I mean, I like the NBA. I just like racing better. 76 Fiat ran when parked, 3K in Greensboro. So there you go. Ran when parked. That lets you know it's not running now. So there you go. 3K in Greensboro, and another 3K to get it running. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm pretty locked in on getting the Fiat at this point, just because overall cost wise it's going to be better, and I'm just going to do something cool with it. So I think you guys will appreciate that. Something I couldn't do with the Fiat because replacing parts would be just impossible, honestly, without fabricating them. Double decker Taco Supreme for the win. There you go. That's what it was. The double dot. Yeah, the Supreme Taco double decker. That's what I was talking about, Benjamin Lewis. Those things are banging. Panny Annie says, was the hauler parade tonight? Legacy 23XI Trackhouse looked pretty BA. Yeah, the Penske ones look pretty good too. Nashville is sick. It is a must visit, says Supreme Baller. Yeah, Nashville is great. Black Flags Matter. Darian, he does the local short track stuff there. I think he's the announcer up there. So check him out when if you're ever up there for a local short track race or something like that. BB would enjoy the show. Justified, I'm sure of it. Yeah. So I liked back in the day, Bo Darville. I liked man, what was that thing with Calamity Jane and Wild Bill Hickok? It's got the same dude from Justified in it. Deadwood. I like Deadwood, so I'm sure I'd like Justified. Nashville sucks in the NASCAR Rivals game for Switch. Fell so far behind, says Team FT. All right, so Team FT doesn't like the layout of the track because they haven't figured it out yet, for sure. Let's see here. Not a lot of fans in the current city I'm working in. Yeah, that always stinks. I hate that. Team FT. Also, Grant Enfinger came back for the ARCA finale and nearly won. KFB has done it before, including his last 5 starts in 2021. Yep. So he can definitely get it done in Xfinity. I suggest you point 9, the top left of your lens, starting with the Daytona 500 and for the 2023 season, instead of the top right corner of your lens. All right. I will keep that in mind. Watching Rubbin is Racing during a podcast with Jimmy, Noah, and Eric. There you go. There you go. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. Rubbin and Racing is another good podcast, by the way. It's the Dale Tanhart guy. Garage Guys, I think, do that one back in the day. But now it's just I think it's just a regular deal on what's the name? Barstool. I think Barstool has the rights to it, but I think that's where the Garage Guys got started, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong. They should have let DT build his own track in Long Island. LOL, says Quiet Cat. Yeah, so back in the day, DT tried to do one as well. I'll let you take a wild guess as to why I can't say that one. You have 9,000 NASCAR friends right here, Supreme Baller. There you go. That is definitely a good way to look at it. We always got you back whenever you want to talk about NASCAR stuff. Yeah, very forgotten. All made it at least one start in 2021, though. There you go. Team FT's got to go. Thanks for hanging out. Let's see here. Do you see Trevor Bayne getting the 11 or the 19 in Cup next year? Nope, but I think he will continue to expand his Xfinity starts 100%. Supreme Baller said, yeah, the NASCAR crowd is always great and welcoming. Yeah, it's always fun. We look out for each other. The double decker was fire. I miss it, says OJ and Toothpaste. Yeah, that was definitely talking about the Taco Bell double decker taco. Definitely really good. Supreme Baller says great people for sure. We got a good community here for sure. You guys are awesome. Let's see. Mark Barnes says, not eating fast food in 5 years. My stomach has thanked me. He says, yeah, so it's definitely not good for you. I mean, we all know that. So if you can abstain from it, that is always the best bet. Team FT said, yeah, I thought I had to go, but I'm coming back. I didn't have to go quite yet. Check out LLRT32 on YouTube. He drives a hauler and live streamed the hauler parade earlier from the driver's seat. Pretty cool. B1624 checking in with us. What's up, Beast? Supreme Baller says Donnie T at the Daytona 500 was epic. Made me love NASCAR even more. So yeah, a lot of people loved it. A lot of people hated it. Like I said, I don't delve into that stuff. So you either liked it or you didn't, right? So it is what it is. He goes by Captain Ron. Oh, so there you go. I like that was a good movie too. I know you're talking about the hauler driver, but Captain Ron, that was another good movie back in the day as well. Shower scene in Captain Ron has a surprise for a Disney movie, and I'll leave it at that because I was like, whoa, they showed that in a Disney movie. Wow. That was definitely an oversight in somebody forgot to cut that out. And I'll leave it at that. Would you rather have the Dukes of Hazzard Charger or the Smokey and the Bandit Firebird? Smokey and the Bandit Firebird all day. Not even a question. Smokey and the Bandit was my favorite movie. Period. Still my favorite movie. Smokey and the Bandit, without question. Both are really cool cars, though. Both are definitely really cool cars. The Smokey and the Bandit car would need some help because it's got all that smog stuff on it. You'd have to take all that stuff off. But once you take that off, it is definitely a fast car. Stacking Pennies is LaJoy's podcast. Yes, he does a great podcast too. If you were unaware, I don't think you need to come here to find out about Corey LaJoy has a podcast called Stacking Pennies. But if you're just now hearing about it, definitely check it out because he does a great job. Spring Baller says, "Daggone right. That's why these chats are awesome. Awesome race fans and patriots," says Supreme Baller for sure. Oh yeah, Trevor Bain, big fan of him. I share a birthday with him as well. Trevor Bain's a good dude. Jamie Schweitzer says Speedway Club, best place outside of the garage at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So there you go. Love seeing how well he performed last year. Talking about Trevor Bain. Hopefully he gets a shot in Cup this year. He might get another shot one day. At least one race. He might be somebody they could put in that legacy car. I think that wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. And it's also somebody 2311 could put in that 67 car for sure. I'm with you on the fast food thing. Cassandra Keller says, yeah, like if you cannot eat fast food, that is always the best option. I did it for like 3 years. But then when we started doing race car stuff, and actually I went back to school at one point. Actually, when I went back to school and then I got into the race car stuff, I just got into you're on the road all the time. It is what it is. And that's just an excuse too, because you can prepare and plan for that. But it is what it is. I'm on the road a lot and I do eat fast food. But if you can abstain from it, it is definitely better for you. Let's see here. What's your favorite fish food, calamari or shrimp or whatever? Well, freshwater, I like Cajun catfish. That's probably my favorite. As far as seafood goes, probably shrimp and flounder. Yeah, shrimp or flounder. Flip a coin. I usually get when I get seafood like that, I get a platter where I got flounder, shrimp, and then something else, which is always catfish. I usually get the triple platter, and then a couple of vegetables, which is usually just coleslaw and hush puppies, and I don't even know what the other thing I normally get is because I normally never even make it to the coleslaw and hush puppies because there's just so much food on the triple platter. Even Earl and Randy got to ride in Smokey and the Bandit and the Bandit's Firebird. Yep, that's true. That was actually one of the cool parts about that show that it crossed over for me, which totally made sense for them. I like the Subaru Brat in My Name Is Earl too. The Subaru Brat, and that's definitely to me an iconic car as well. Cassandra Keller says love stacking pennies. Yeah, Corey LaJoy does a great job. Fun fact: the car I bought actually had a LaJoy seat in it. It didn't quite fit me. It sort of cut me off right here on the collarbone, which was unfortunate. But I had to give back my LaJoy of seating seat. But I did have I have a LaJoy seat for a little while. I traded it to get a discount on the seat that I've got in there now, which is just a Kirky, but it's a pretty cool full containment Kirky. Do you think Kinzer's NASCAR time was ruined by owner Bernstein? Yep, I do, 100%. And I've talked about this on the past, but Steve Kinzer, just in case you're wondering, Steve Kinzer, that's why his car is right there. He probably would have had a lot better time if he had raced with like Hendrick or somebody else. Philip Canavan says Disney owns a lot of companies that are adult. So there you go. But they didn't back then. That's why it was a surprise. And I'm 100% sure it was just a mistake and they left it in there. That they left it in there at that time in Disney's run because that they were super squeaky clean, family friendly back then. Bane in the 67 makes a lot of sense with him driving the 18 in Xfinity, says Quiet Cat. Yeah, that's my thinking too. So hopefully he'll get a shot there. Are rain tires in play at Daytona, or are we going to have a 3 or 4 day race? I don't think rain tires are in play. They're not going to let them race in the rain at Daytona just yet. They haven't figured out that technology yet. Like says, why is everybody talking about shorter races? I want a 24-hour NASCAR race, 3 drivers representing each organization. It might be in your future. I don't know about 24 hours, but I think there's a 12-hour race on the horizon, and they'll be sharing that race with IMSA. Look for that in the future. That's just my prediction. I haven't heard anything. So look for that probably around 2024, 2025, somewhere in there. Let's see here. I'm not a fan of shorter races unless it's Texas. There you go. There you go. Texas has probably been the most loathsome race for race fans for the last decade. They did have a good race last year, but Texas, typically a really bad race. If you could see one ARCA driver race Cup, who would it be? Frank Kimmel. Frank Kimmel, without question. I would like to see Frank Kimmel. I wish he could have got a full season in Cup at some point when he was at his peak. Also on Stephen Light Racing ARCA, I'm personally a fan of that. Remember his Xfinity win? Yeah, he's a pretty good driver. Earl's car, El Camino or Ranchero. It's a Ranchero. No, the Earl's car is a Ranchero. The Subaru Brat is Joey's car. Joey's car. Joey's car. Let's see here. Remember the red door though? Yeah, for sure. He had the whole car is one color and then the door is a different color. Does Travis Pastrana make it in? I think Travis Pastrana's got a good chance to make it in for sure. It was a blue door on a red car. Yes, the El Camino. Yeah, so it was an El Camino. There you go. I couldn't remember. But yeah, he drives both of his cars are mullets. The Utes, as they call them in Australia. Business in the front, party in the back. Except for a mullet is opposite. There's a work in the back and the party in the front. Who are you looking for in trucks this season? Who are your 3 drivers? Oh man, that's a good question. I don't know. Haley Deegan, obviously. Rajah Caruth would be the other one. And I kind of want to see it's a team really. I want to see what Jack Wood. I want to see what KBM does because everybody's downplaying Jack Wood and all the KBM drivers. So I want to see what KBM does. Not necessarily a driver, but a team. Supreme Baller says, "Who are your guys? Whoever's racing for Petty GMS or just GMS, I guess, in the truck series. But GMS is definitely my team in the truck series there. Let's see here. My name is Earl, cast member. Randy is in really good shape now. He's bodybuilding. Yeah, he's gotten in phenomenal shape. He started powerlifting, and he's in great shape. Throughout his career in Hollywood, if you saw him on American History X, he was probably the biggest he ever was. He has slimmed down. He's done a great job getting his health under control. So good for him. Definitely a great story there. Yeah, I have seen that though. Benjamin Lewis headed towards Daytona tomorrow. I probably won't make it there, but I'm headed in that direction, says Benjamin Lewis. It's going to be a fun event. I wish I had. It's completely sold out, even the infield now. So there are no tickets, but I'm sure somebody will help you out if you walk up and you search long enough. I'd go with Heim and Taylor Gray and Chase Purdy. Yeah, they're definitely going to be fun to watch. Both of the Gray kids can really drive. Corey Heim he's legit. I'm not even worried about him. I know he's going to do well. But the Gray kids are definitely going to be really good and fun to watch. The younger Gray, I think, is Taylor Gray. He's going to be really good. His brother hasn't quite put it together yet, but I think he'll get there as well. But the younger brother, he's a stud. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. Ryan Fussner, 199 lives. So there you go. Talking about Travis Pastrana there. Did you see Sterling Marlin on Dirty Mo? Sad to see that. Yeah, I know he's got what Michael J. Fox has, and just the fact I've seen bits and pieces. I haven't watched the whole thing or listened to the whole thing yet, but I am going to check it out. What's your favorite beer car? Favorite beer car of all time was the Miller High Life Gold with the white and then a little bit of green trim. Bobby Allison drove it. He's the one that's most remembered for it, but I liked it because the number 84, Dick Trickle, won the Rookie of the Year in it and gave the greatest Rookie of the Year speech ever. Corey Haim is a monster, says Supreme Baller, no doubt about that. Ryan Fussner, I just Googled Ethan Suppley, aka Randy from My Name is Earl. No crap, he's in great shape now. Yeah, he's a monster. He could you'd have to use both hands to whoop him now. There's no doubt about that. There was that episode of Earl where Earl went to the gym. Maybe it was foreshadowing for Randy, says Napa fan. Well, there you go. The show was about karma, right? So it predicted a lot of stuff. Taylor Gray is going to be insane too. Yeah. Tanner Gray is the older one. Yeah, Taylor Gray is the younger one. Yeah, the younger one. Yes, sir. Sterling Marlin is great. I used to pick him a lot back in the day during the Gordon and Earnhardt days. He has Parkinson's now. Yep, that's like I was saying, the same thing Michael J. Fox has. I feel for Custer a lot. A lot of the new stars took forever to win. Custer didn't have practice, and the new car had a lot of things against him, and they try to make him a laughing stock now. Look, Cole Custer's talented. They didn't probably give it. They either rushed him up or didn't give him enough time in Cup, in my opinion. But he's going to do good things. He'll be back, in my opinion. Travis P. Was racing the last few years with Ken Block. Might be wanting to do something else. Sad. Yeah, for sure. That rivalry probably won't be as fun. It was a fun rivalry, and he probably is not as entertained doing that anymore as he was. I got to do a video for your opinion of the best paint scheme by number. Says Kevin McNamara. That's actually on the docket. So there you go. You've actually found one that is in the queue, Kevin. That's actually on there. Great beer car TV commercial. The Deuce breaks the sound barrier, breaking all the windows in the press box. That was a good one. I remember exactly what you're talking about there. Tanner Gray used to race. Yeah, he's a champion in NHRA Pro Stock. That's where his family actually came from. Their racing lineage is from, I should say. Haley Deegan needs to improve with Thor Sport this year. DGR wasn't great, but we need to see her see her in a truck in contention, says Napa fan. I agree, and I think he will. I hope he comes back and whoops some. I think he will. Supreme. Ryan Fussner says, do you think they'll send a Chinese spy balloon over Talladega? There you go. We've got a yellow mark now. Ryan Fussner, I don't know. They've sent so many. God knows. How many more can they possibly send? Let's see here. Thor Sport was with, you remember the Goodyear blimp back in the day? That was cool. I missed the old blimp shots because now we got drones, right? So I missed the old Goodyear blimp though. Thor Sport was Toyota. Went to Ford, then back to Toyota, then back to Ford again, with Chevy before that. Yeah, so they're definitely good no matter what they do. They're a very solid truck team, and I do like how they play the manufacturers against each other. Don't worry about it, Ryan. It's all good. We've been joking about that the whole time here. Don't even sweat it. But it is what it is. I probably got it for saying the name of the band about 10 times over and over again. So I'm sure I had it before then. I think it's time to send the Goodyear blimp to our friends over there in that region. So yeah, for sure. All right. And with that one, I think I'm going to call it an end here to this one. It's been fun as always. Oh, we got one more question. I'm going to answer this one, then we'll call it a chat. Big KBM fan, but I don't even know who the drivers are this year. Benjamin Lewis, it's Chase Purdy and Jack Wood, if I'm not mistaken. So check them out for sure. And with that, I'm going to jump off of here, and we will catch y'all on the next one. Thanks for hanging out. It was fun. And